Hey, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I'm joined by...
Loudon Often.
Loudon Often is a fellow card counter and a good friend of mine, and we are actually live in Las Vegas. We've just been putting on a weekend training, but we wanted to put together a video for you on AP etiquette. This video is long overdue, and we want to share with you some things that you need to know about how to handle yourself in the casino. The first step to being a successful advantage player or card counter is mastering the skill. But it is a whole other thing to know how to handle yourself and get in the hours at the casino. And I hear too many stories of basic mistakes, probably mistakes I made early on. You probably didn't make these mistakes, but basic mistakes. And we want to help save you guys from them for your sake and also for the sake of all card counters and advantage players. I've got 6 tips for you. So let's start with number 6, which is stop being obvious in the casino. I heard the story of somebody the other day that told the dealer they were counting. Don't do that.
I definitely understand the impulse because you feel so alone sometimes with the knowledge that you've got going on. And sometimes the dealers want to be your best friend, and they seem to be suggesting that they know what you're doing, and so there is an impulse to like, oh, maybe we do have this in common, but too many risks.
I get it. You're excited, you're proud of yourself, but if you want to be a professional at advantage play, act like a professional. Another thing that I see people doing when I'm training them or I hear about is mouthing the count at the table. There was actually a guy that was part of my first team, and when he was learning, the dealer said to him, hey, you gotta stop mouthing the count while you're playing. If you have to mouth the running count as you're playing, you shouldn't be playing in the casino yet. And along with being obvious in the casino is hawking the cards. So what that means is you show up and you either stand behind the table or sit down at the table and just watch the cards, and they say, do you want to play? No, that's okay. And they say, okay, now I'll play. You want to blend in. And doing these things are not going to help your longevity in the casino. And again, it's one thing to gain the edge. It's another to get the hours in at the casino. The next tip is if you realize that you've sat down at the table with another card counter or AP, get up and leave. Have you ever sat down at another card counter's table?
I've bumped into a few, and we usually separate. There's maybe eye contact, and then we get on our phones outside the casino.
So David just helped share my number 4 tip, which is don't talk to another AP at the table. If there's a situation where you're there with a buddy and you're gonna split up and play separate tables, don't then talk about card counting. There's no reason for the casino to have to know you're together. If you bump into another AP and you say, oh wow, they're counting also, or whatever, don't talk to them at the table. Find a secluded place. There's no cameras in the restroom. You could say like, hey, meet me in the restroom or meet me outside away from all the cameras. And there you can exchange phone numbers or info if you want to, but don't start talking shop at the blackjack table. My next tip is don't ever blame another AP for generating EV. So there can be a situation where you're playing your local casino and another card counter shows up and you're saying, hey, they're being too aggressive, they're burning a game down. You know what? Every AP is in it for the money. And I can't blame the MIT team that came before us, or the Highlanders, or Ken Houston's team, or any other person that they're at the casino trying to get as much money out of it as possible. Yeah, it might suck that they could, burn down your local game, but what they're doing is their job. And you might not like that they're doing their job at your local honeypot, but you can't blame them for trying to make money. We had a couple guys from a well-known team come into our local casino when I was younger, and I didn't like it because they're there 12 hours a day playing table minimum to table max. I didn't like that it might ruin our game, but I couldn't blame them because they're there doing everything that I admire about the people that came before us. And now later in my career, I've had people be upset that I came to their local casino and was betting aggressively, and they're saying, oh, you're ruining my game. You know what? I'm just doing what APs have been doing forever, which is fearlessly going after the money. Now we can be smart about it, but we can't fear people being good card counters.
And just as you're not in control of the casino offering the game and making the rules, you're not in control of how an AP plays a game, and you just have to kind of let go of that.
Now there's an exception, which is we don't want to prematurely ruin things. Number 2 tip for AP etiquette is be forgettable. So yes, you can't blame someone for betting aggressively, but there's another kind of AP out there that is just making a bad name for all advantage players. Do you make a scene when you get backed off?
I might have made a scene or two that I'm not proud of, but I learned quickly that that's not the way to go.
It can do a couple bad things. One, then they're going to remember you if you ever come back. Also, it's going to hurt the reputation of all advantage players. So be forgettable. It's in your best interest, and it's in the best interest of others. Does that mean don't bet aggressively and try to take the casino's money? No, do that, but don't be a jerk. Which brings me to my number one tip on AP etiquette, which is be a low maintenance player at the tables. So I ripped off that phrase from James Grosjean. He wrote this great blog post about this. I got his permission to share some of these points. He's someone that we admire and that had some really good input on being what he calls a low maintenance player. Don't do anything that makes the dealer feel nervous procedurally. So if you're at the table, you got to know the procedures. Don't touch the cards when you're not supposed to touch them. Don't put your hand over your bet when you're supposed to. Know how things go, and don't make the dealer stressed out, and it will go better for you and the casino staff. Another point is don't whine when you're losing. So there's one thing of having an act and fitting in a casino. There's another when you're making them feel uncomfortable. And that is not going to be good for your longevity or for APs in general if you are doing things that are making the casino not want you to be there. Now, of course, they might not want us there when they know we're advantage players, but if we're adding to that, we're doing ourselves a disservice. Another point he makes is don't talk too much if the dealer doesn't want to talk. To me, this fits in to the category of know your audience, right? Know what is going to make them feel comfortable, know what's going to get them to forget you quickly, and be someone that they don't mind being around. Now, are we tipping like crazy? No, we're not. But if the casino staff doesn't mind us, if they actually maybe find us to be a low maintenance player, they're going to be much more comfortable letting us stay there than if we're a high maintenance player.
I've got the opposite problem. I think some card counters can become sort of a shutdown recluse who's like walling off any conversation or any thought. You have to be somewhat relatable, so.
Yes.
But I tend toward not wanting to necessarily have conversations with the dealer.
Which goes back to know your audience. I heard a story from one of our BJA members that another card counter came in, and so he just sat there and observed. And this guy came in and he was an absolute robot. He did everything correctly, but he didn't blend in at all. What happens? He gets backed off after a couple of shoes, and this other guy's been playing the casino for months and months. The difference? One of them knew how to be a low maintenance player that knew how to read their audience and fit in. The other was a robot.
And sometimes I'm talking more on purpose, and sometimes I'm talking less on purpose, and kind of just whatever it takes to fit in and be a normal person and be invisible.
It's the same if we're in a coffee shop and the person working at the coffee shop doesn't want to talk, but I keep talking to them. I'm being a high maintenance customer. We want to be a low maintenance customer. One other tip he gives is clean up after yourself. So this is the advice I would give my kids. If you bring a cup to the table, don't make a big mess and leave a big mess behind. Be someone that people like in general, and it will go better for you as an AP. It'll go better for all APs. It'll go better for the casino and the casino staff. So think through how you handle yourself in the casino. Think through how you interact with people. Think through your act, that you are doing yourself an advantage, not a disservice. And don't be a problem with other APs, casino staff, while you're in the casino.
That energy reads. So if you're putting, good, clean, nice guy energy out there, that will come back.
For more card counting and blackjack advice, you can subscribe below or check out blackjackapprenticeship.com, and we will catch you next time.